Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dylan Silver, and today on the show we have Sanjeev Sharma out of Seattle, Washington, real estate investor out of Seattle, Washington. Sanjeev, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you.
I always like to start at the top, getting to know my guests. You know, sometimes I find I do these shows and then it's like old friends talking on the podcast. But how did you get into the real estate investing space? And did your journey start out there in Seattle?
Yeah, actually, my journey is kind of interesting. I am actually an architect, and I used to work for a very big corporate firm, and I was always wanting to kind of do my own stuff. So I would approach a realtor friend of mine saying, okay, if you ever have any jobs for me, new houses, anything, I want to kind of start my own outfit. And he said, why don't you get a license? So I said, maybe I don't have a personality for a real estate agent, and I don't know. I think it's kind of like little, something which I had not dreamed of. So he said, why don't you try it? There's no harm, I'll, hang your license with me, and then you will never even call me once you get a license. And the same thing happened. I got my license. I got a bunch of my friends wanting to buy through me, and then that was it. And so it's kind of interesting, and I do have a little bit of both parts of the real estate, just like new construction and buying, selling older houses. Yeah.
Let's dive in, Sanjeev. So you go in, you're apprehensive. I don't know if this is for me, architect. I don't know if I'm the selling side of it, but you go in and you get some deals flow. You get deals coming in. How did you find those first buyers? Were they friends of friends? Was it people that you knew? How did you find those people?
They were actually good friends of mine. They said, if you're jumping into this, then we owe you, some kind of support. So they were my first clients, and one after the other. Back then, I had just gotten married. Some of these guys were single. Some of them just got married. So it was kind of like an interesting spectrum, and just one after the other, they just kind of started unfolding. And I never realized that, maybe so many people latch onto as part of my journey and part of their journey.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
You know, the biggest thing that I notice about real estate professionals and operators who have been in business for decades is they're problem solvers, right? So coming in apprehensive, I don't know if it's for me, but you come and you realize, hey, I have these friends getting married. They need places to stay. They want to support you, which is a testament to how good of a friend you are, because of course they're not going to support you unless they like you as a buddy. And they need a home. So who better to buy it from than their buddy Sanjeev? So from there, you're doing architecture and you're a licensed realtor. And
Right.
so what's the next steps look like for you? Are you at that point thinking to yourself, okay, let me dive into being a realtor because I'm seeing traction pick up, I'm seeing proof of concept? Or are you thinking, let me just keep this on the back burner for now?
Honestly, well, I didn't kind of, I just went with the flow and I thought it was good. People were liking what I did and I offered a lot more, what you call acumen um, and knowledge to all my clients. So my goal would be to kind of just make sure they become very knowledgeable at the end of it, and maybe they don't even really need me, but so I just share everything from like the site to the specifics of the house to how it was built, and also how it could be altered later, or if you want to add like another floor to the building. I mean, I have all the pieces of the puzzle at and I'm a very good interior designer as well, so I would offer them solutions, help them with paint selections, cabinetry, anything at all which goes with the house or construction.
So at this point in time, helping your friends, you're doing a little bit of both from the architecture and the being a licensed realtor. Are you thinking in the back of your mind, okay, how do I get my own portfolio? How do I start building my own rental portfolio? Are you thinking about that at this point, or is this a distant thought at that point?
I think I was thinking of a rental portfolio, but unfortunately, uh, somehow I just got so slammed with everything that it just kind of started coming to me from like different directions. So I did a few things, but not like a really very jazzy real estate portfolio. But a lot of my
Okay.
friends ended up getting a portfolio through me. So yeah.
So let's talk about your growth. A lot of people will start out on the outside looking in. My journey was I sold cars, right? So I sold cars for the better part of 5 years. Before that, I was working in restaurants. And when I think about real estate, it was so foreign to me, Sanjeev. I didn't know anybody who was a realtor, like in my family or my friend group. Most of
Mm-hmm.
my friends sold cars or worked in restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
We lived at these places, Sanjeev. It was 12
Right.
hours a day, right? And
Yeah.
so when I initially started to think about a different life, I had no way in. And so it was analysis paralysis to the max, man.
Mm-hmm.
It was I'm going to meetings once a month to RIA events, but it really wasn't enough. I probably did that on and off for like years, like probably 4 years. Finally, it got to a point at my job where I just felt like I had to make a move because I was dissatisfied with the conditions of really my life. And it wasn't one thing, it was so many things. And so I
Mm-hmm.
made the switch in my mind, got into real estate, but it wasn't until I went to a paid conference where I paid a substantial fee to go attend in Texas that I really had a shift, because I at that event I saw not just high net worth individuals, but people who were willing to have a conversation with me
Mm-hmm.
about their portfolio, about their wholesale deals, about how to get these deals under contract. And so
Right.
that was around August of 2023 in Addison, Texas. So fast forward today, I've probably done around 20 assignable contracts, have my real estate license, and then funny enough, living in DFW Metroplex, so almost in the same area where that conference was. What was the journey like for you, Sanjeev, and where did it take you to today? How are you active today in your business?
If you're looking for consistent, high quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
I think my journey has been pretty steady, except for the time when recession came in. Then a lot of people were not wise, but I did have some really wise clients who ended up buying a lot at that time. And a lot of my clients are like really high up in organizations, so they have a lot of wealth of knowledge. So actually, I get to learn a lot from them too. I mean, they get to learn more about the um, development aspects, or construction or building or investment, and I get to learn more like how they kind of look at real estate as like a strategy, because they
Yeah.
would read up, I would read up, and when we discuss, we just end up finding a lot more new ideas to kind of do the same thing.
So when you're building and you're scaling, you're getting more clients, you're active as an architect, active as a realtor. Did you go into niche fields? Did you explore new fields within the real estate space? Did you get any additional experience that we haven't discussed already? What was your growth like in the real estate space?
I think one was, I mean, started doing some commercial ones, and I'm very good at land. So I could help my clients identify land where they could build, and then I could give them end-to-end service where I can fashion a house for them. So that was one. And then the second one, which was kind of more a recent development, it's when the market is kind of going up. So I've had like a lot of clients buy ramblers, and we actually got permits for a brand new house and sold the house with the permits. So they would make like a lot of money just doing that. So so I would produce renderings, animations, and then just pitch them to different clients, and some of the other builder would just lap it up.
Let's dive in there because I'm not familiar with this process. I live on a ranch, so we have goats out here.
Okay, no worries. Yeah.
uh, you're developing these land. I'm assuming there's city sewer on the land, or are you having to get city sewer to go to this development site?
Sometimes you have to, the sewer is a little bit far off. We do a calculation, how much is it going to cost, put it in the project cost. Other times, sometimes we leave if the sewer is too far, or other times when you have a septic system, then, it helps. So you just have to kind of make up your mind and look at the numbers, how, whether it's worth the effort of kind of developing. Some of the lots which I've done really well were very, very difficult lots where everybody said you cannot build, and with persistence and with working with like civil engineers and like environmental guys, we kind
Yeah.
of fashioned like not like huge homes, but still like about 3,500 to 4,000 square feet homes.
So, as a developer, a lot of people aren't aware of this, but the city doesn't pay to develop this. The developer pays to develop
Of
it.
course, yeah, yeah.
And so the exit strategy is typically you sell the lots that you develop. Now,
Mhm.
when we're talking about bringing city water, sewer, electricity, right, to these properties, that's a huge task. It involves so many different layers to it. Have you faced obstacles at all with those, with bringing the utilities out there, or has it been smooth sailing in the
I think
developments?
it's been reasonably smooth sailing. The more problem is with the sometimes with the city, because you know how any government structure works, um, is nobody wants to take responsibility. So they're like, okay, it's very obvious you can do this, and there's no wetland, but there's nobody with the firm authority saying, oh, go ahead, do it. It's fine. So we've always had to convince, and something which could just like take a month sometimes could end up taking like 6 months, because
Yeah.
cities kind of just like making sure nobody sues them in future, so they want to kind of make sure their end is all buttoned up.
The difficult thing with this is when people are planning it, right? There's holding costs involved, right? So
Yeah,
you
they're
have to
holding costs.
have all this, and it quickly becomes expensive. I've seen some developments where I worry, are they going to get foreclosed on, or are they going to miss their payment effectively? Because it's like the city hasn't been connected to the development site, and so they're just waiting on something. But
Mhm.
Let's pivot a bit here, talking about developing these areas. It's a huge capital investment when you're doing this. I'm imagining most cases you have partners and there's heavy capital raising that's involved in this. Let's talk a little bit about that process for folks who may be unfamiliar with it.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
So typically, what I do is I try not to have like four disparate people kind of join a group because it's not going to work out. Because sooner or later somebody says, "Oh, so some." It is mostly with friends or sometimes extended family where people know what they're trying to get into.
Yeah.
And what I do is I give them like a kind of like a crash course of what you're looking at, what are the expenses going to be, what is the holding. We kind of make an Excel chart of everything and try to go 10% over whatever the cost might be, so that there's a buffer just in case there's something else weird happens. And then once people understand, I think then it's like pretty straightforward, just like any other project, just like going
Yeah,
groceries. You just have a list of things, you just keep ticking it off. Yeah.
we might go get cabbage, head of lettuce, corn. We might go build a subdivision. It's,
Right.
tomatoes and tomatoes. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's interesting because I've now spoken with folks who build everything from uh, a gentleman who did land in Costa Rica. All he did was
Mhm.
land. He didn't develop the land. He would
Mhm.
bring utilities to it, or he might build a gate. I've
Mhm.
spoken with people who do fix and flip. I've spoken with people who do land banking in the United States. I've now spoken with two developers. I've spoken with people who build hospitals, right?
Mhm.
And when everyone finds their niche, you still have to be able to adapt and to problem solve within that,
Mhm.
and then also look at market conditions. So as you've gone on in your career, I'm imagining it was an opportunity to develop that first one, that first subdivision, that first area, and
Mhm.
then from there you saw, okay, well, how else can I, where else can I develop? Talk us through the growth process of being a developer. How does one get into that position, and then what's the growth like?
I think in my mind, it's not. I try to keep it simple. So I think in my mind, everything is just knowledge. So if you know how to kind of acquire a lot, and then what are the 10 things you need to watch out, and how much time is it going to take, and then put a dollar number to it, and then how do you get that dollar number to work for you. So a lot of times, like I said, it could be four guys trying to get into it, because they have a good buffer. And also sometimes in the beginning, somebody's trying it for the first time. They're not, they have like somebody else to fall back on and also discuss and not get so paranoid, because sometimes
Yeah,
if it could be single guy, then he would say, oh man, this is like, what did I get into. So
there's a
then
lot of that.
there's a lot of that. People are not really risk taking, and sometimes it's like whoever takes a risk. I know some of my clients have risen to like such enormous. I have one client who has like 20 plus houses, one client who has 32 plus houses. So it's kind of like a fascinating journey, and so I kind of learn from them also, and then it's kind of like a mutual kind of a thing. So.
So you went a different route than a lot of my guests, in a sense where you decided, I don't want to do the landlord work. I don't want to be a landlord. I want to be the person that builds what the landlords have. How did you decide in your mind to make that distinction and to not go out and do what a lot of real estate investors do, which is multitask? You said, I'm really going to drill into developing, and that's going to be kind of my niche.
Actually, as such, I mean, developing. I won't call it's my niche. I mean, I do everything. I mean, I do
Okay.
commercial real estate. I do single family homes buy because a lot of these developments they don't happen. They
All the
don't
time.
just come to you every other day. So you
Yeah.
still have to kind of sustain. But I think a very important part of my journey is I try to be as creative as possible because of my training in architecture, and I try to look at everything very creatively and see how better can we do this. And there's an energy which I derive from tasks like these or projects like these, yeah. So which kind of keeps me going, and so I mean, do I do a little bit of everything right now, including land development, but a lot of the I'm trying to go towards luxury homes, and then also finding and developing a really beautiful piece of architecture which somebody can just walk in and say, "Wow, this is so nice. I want this."
I'd like to pivot a bit here, Sanjeev, and talk about the status and the state of architecture in the United States. So, if we look at the grand scheme of American architecture, when I
Hmm.
look at it right now, it feels like most of our buildings are very much cookie cutter, and we've
Right.
gotten away from some of the Gothic, like Art Deco type of buildings. And sure, there's modern, very modern looking buildings that go up, but I do feel like the status of American architecture is not as heralded as it once was, just because of cost saving, right?
Right.
I'm
Right.
curious to see what your perspective is on that, and maybe give me some optimism that we'll see some cool looking buildings here in the future.
Yeah, I think it totally depends on, see, a lot of people, they're so busy with their lives, they just want a house. And so there are very few who say, okay, I want this house, but I want it as a statement of my personality, or, this is something I associate with because, somebody goes for a really modern house. I mean, that kind of just shows that's what his taste is. Otherwise, somebody could just go with like whatever the builder dishes out, like a mass production. They don't
Yeah.
even consider, who is the neighbor or how the windows looking into each other. There's no sense of detailing when a lot of the builders do, because they're hugely driven by profits. And
Hugely.
but I think people have a very very satisfying kind of living once they go into a house which actually they saw getting developed, kind of rising out of the ground, and then also where they had like very important decisions to make in pretty much every room, how the bed is going to be positioned, how many skylights, and what is the street appeal of the house, and
Yeah.
and even I had a client who actually wanted to, build a house on the waterfront. He didn't tell me about the lot. He just took me on a boat saying, "Look at all these great houses," and then he showed me his part. They say, "Can you do something really, really very cool?" So that anybody who's kind of zipping in a boat, he says, "Oh man, that's a great house." I said, "Wow, that's pretty cool." Yeah.
That's so true. Most people generally aren't focused on, it being an expression of themselves. But I do think for such a substantial investment, it would be nice if there could be more of that. On some level, people will do maybe some level of interior design, but
Hmm.
I selfishly would like to see more of it. I think when people, for instance, there's a lot of folks on the podcast who are Airbnb hosts, right?
Hmm.
And I see people really go all out with their Airbnb hosting, and it gives like a personality, right? To the point where
Right.
some of the best Airbnbs will actually be designed by interior designers or people who studied that. Um, and I think it's a huge benefit to real estate operators in general to have an eye for that. And if you don't have an eye for it, partner with someone who does. Because, like, just as an example, as an agent and as an agent yourself, if you
Hmm.
go into a home that's been properly staged versus a home, same home, nothing in it,
Right.
huge difference.
Huge difference. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Just like a little bit of tweaking here and there also makes a big difference. So it's not, sometimes you don't have to go like all lengths to kind of you can still make it very, and not everybody has a knack. So I like you point, like you rightfully said, but sometimes people are scared. Oh, they don't want to part with just a little bit of design fee, which will actually make every single day of their life so memorable. I still remember one of my clients. he asked me to just design a fireplace and something, and I came up with like a concept of fire and ice and something. And after it was done, he said, "We never sat in the living room. Now we sit in the living room, just like turn the fireplace on and just keep admiring what you did for us."
Wow. What a
So yeah,
testimony.
yeah. So I thought I was pretty kicked with it. So yeah.
That's fantastic, man. Yeah, I think some of these, trades, I think people are looking at cookie cutter ways, especially with technology where it's at right now. And how often do we actually see blueprints? Real estate is one of the few places left where people will put out on a table these big blueprints, right? But,
Right, right, right. Yeah.
it's I don't want to say that it's not as important as it once was, because it is to me, but I'm just seeing less and less of it. But Sanjeev, we are coming up on time over here. I would love to have you back on the show. Thank you so much for giving us your time today. Where can folks go to get a hold of you?
Actually, I'm rebuilding my website, and uh, so it's going to be on. It's going to be called www dot sanjeevsharmare.com, and then I have a design website. It's called www.designlyric.com. So basically, what that means is getting your design to be extremely lyrical, have a lyrical component to the design, take it to the next level. And then I have another website which is kind of helps people visualize. So these are people who have already have a house or already working with somebody, but they somehow want to see a visualization. So I help them do a formal visualization, uh, complete with like 3 dimension animation, everything. Yeah.
Formal
So
visualization.
so basically, complete visualization of the house before it gets built, so that they know, oh, maybe this when I'm talking about, oh, this window needs to be more expressive, something on top, or there's like a balance. So when I really show them in 3 dimension, they say they understand. Oh wow, I didn't know that you got into
To do all that.
this level of detail. Yeah.
That's tremendous, man. Sanjeev, thank you so much for your time, for helping educate our audience about where the architecture space is at today, developments, and just, man, wearing so many hats. Sanjeev, thank you for your time today.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.